Hello everyone, Max here from Evidence-Based Football Manager. Hope you're all having a great time watching the World Cup in Qatar. In case you can't tell from what I'm wearing, I'm from Melbourne, Australia, so I will be supporting the Socceroos in the World Cup. Go Australia! Yes, Benzema's out of the World Cup. Yes, we can beat France. Woo! Go Australia! Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, Football Manager. Okay, so in my last video, I talked about the step up more and the drop off more instructions, which are the two new instructions that have been added to FM23. I showed you a series of data last time that made me doubt whether those two instructions had any efficacy at all in FM23. But some people have pointed out to me that maybe I wasn't looking at the most appropriate kind of data. You see, in the previous versions of Football Manager, there was a tactical instruction called use offside trap, which doesn't exist in FM23. And the developers have published an article online saying that the offside trap instruction has been replaced by the step up more and the drop off more instructions. And since the script for the offside trap is activated only a few times during a match in Football Manager, the effects of the step up more and the drop off more instructions may not show up in the data that I presented to you last time, such as the average positions of the defenders or the match statistics. Which I fully agree with. If the step up more and the drop off more instructions are indeed about activating an offside trap for the opposition team, rather than changing the overall height of the defensive line used by your team, then yes, the kind of data that I showed you last time may not have been the most appropriate ones. Look, if I was misled about the new instructions, then I do think it's because the game is misleading. I'll show you, yeah? So, if you have a look at the tooltip for the step up more instruction, it says here, step up more will ask the defenders to press typically higher up the pitch in an effort to compact the midfield space ahead of them and give the opposition less room and unchallenged time on the ball. It can, however, be more susceptible to having long balls played in behind them. And if you have a look at the tooltip for the drop off more instruction, this is what it says. Drop off more will ask the defenders to adopt a safety first approach by typically defending closer to their own goal when there is an opposition attacking threat. It reduces the vulnerability of giving up space in behind, but it does concede more territory and invite more pressure. You see, when I read that, I really can't tell that these instructions have anything to do with laying an offside trap for the opposition team. To me, they really sound like they're more to do with the overall level of defensive line employed by your defenders. Yeah, I know there's an article published by the developers online that you can go and read, but don't you think the game itself should provide proper and clear explanations on all these technical instructions? Like, isn't that the whole point of all these in-game descriptions? Look, it doesn't matter. I am revising my understanding of these two instructions, so yeah, I get it. They're to do with offsides and not the level of defensive line used by your defenders. And in that case, what kind of data do you think we should be looking at? What's the most appropriate kind of data to study the effects of these instructions, step up more and drop off more? Some of you have suggested looking at the number of offsides per match and also the location where those offsides occur. So that's exactly what I did this time. So using my test cup match, I repeated the exact same match 900 times in order to calculate the average number of offsides per match as I turned on and off these step up more and the drop off more instructions. The hypothesis is that the average number of offsides per match should go up when step up more instruction is turned on, and on the other hand, the number of offsides per match should go down when drop off more is turned on. Actually, what I'll do is I'll display the full details of the experiment on the screen right now, so do feel free to pause the video and have a read if you wanted to. So I have a bar graph here that shows you the average number of offsides per match as I change the tactical instructions. You can see that using the 4-2-3-1 or the 4-4-2 formations, there's a slight dip in the number of offsides per match when the step up more instruction is turned on, whereas the drop off more instruction didn't lead to any significant changes. With the 3-5-2 formation, the number of offsides stayed more or less constant with the step up more instruction, whereas with the drop off more instruction, there was a slight dip in the number of offsides, as you can see right here. So what do you guys think? How do you interpret these results? Do you think the drop in the number of offsides here, here and here mean anything for the step up more and the drop off more instructions? I'll leave it up to you guys to make up your own minds. Okay, next we'll have a look at the location of offsides. The hypothesis here is that with the step up more turned on, the offsides should generally be happening sort of a little bit further up the pitch, whereas with the instruction drop off more turned on, offsides should generally be happening a little bit deeper towards your own goal, over a large sample pool. Again, I'm going to display the experiment details on the screen right now, so do feel free to pause and have a read. Okay, you guys ready? There you go. I have 9 images here. So 3 on the left, 4-2-3-1 formation, 3 in the middle, 4-4-2 formation, 3 on the right, 3-5-2 formation. 3 at the top is step up more turned on, 3 in the middle is when no instruction was turned on, and 3 at the bottom is when drop off more was turned on. Okay, what do you guys think? You guys noticing any difference in the location of these offsides? Again, I'll leave it up to you guys to draw your own conclusions. I guess at this point you could still argue that the step up more and the drop off more instructions only activate in close call situations that only happen maybe once or twice per match, if that. So looking at the number of offsides or the location of offsides are still not good enough to reveal the effects of those 2 instructions. Yes, of course it's possible. If a tactical instruction in Football Manager only comes into play in very limited circumstances, then of course, even with a large sample size, the effects of those instructions will not show up. I think at the very least what you can say from all this data is that the effects of the step up more and the drop off more instructions, if any, are so minor that control tests involving hundreds of samples are still not good enough to fully reveal those effects. I think that much I am allowed to say from all the information that I showed you in the last video and also in this one. Now I do have another set of data that I wanted to show you today. Last time some of you have commented that looking at the average positions of defenders is perhaps not the best method of assessing the step up more or the drop off more instructions, and that average positions are more useful for assessing the level of defensive line employed by your team. By defensive line here, I'm referring to that white slider that you can move up and down all the way from much higher to much lower. If you change the level of your defensive line from much higher to much lower, then surely that difference should be captured by the average positions of your team. So that's what I'm going to show you right now. Again, I'll display the full details on the screen right now, so do pause the video if you want to have a read. So I have 9 images in front of you right now. 3 on the left is using the 4-2-3-1 formation, 3 in the middle is using the 4-4-2 formation, and the 3 on the right is using the 3-5-2 formation. 3 at the top is when the level of defensive line was set as much higher, 3 in the middle is using standard defensive line, and 3 at the bottom is using the much lower defensive line. Look, I'm not going to go into too much detail about the level of defensive line today because defensive line is a huge topic that deserves a whole separate video by itself. I just wanted to show you these images today because if the average positions are going to be of any use as a research tool in Football Manager, then the level of defensive line used by your team is really something that I believe that average positions should be able to capture and represent. Okay, I think I'll wrap things up here for today. Okay, lads, I know a lot of you are waiting for me to resume my research on training in FM23. Don't worry, I've already started working on it. Okay, there are some topics that have been commonly requested by you guys related to regarding training in Football Manager, including mentoring, individual training, youth team development, loaning out players to other teams, etc. And I will try to cover them as much as I can in my upcoming research. It is a process that takes time, I'm afraid, but do bear with me and I will deliver the answers to you. In the meantime, you all have fun watching the World Cup, and yeah, I will see you all next time. Cheers, guys.